I'm kind of back. Now I'm live on my iPad because my laptop is not doing well and shut off on me. So, and now I'm tired. I said I would come back on, and somebody just asked about that, so that's why I'm here. Anything anybody wants to talk about in the on the jailhouse snitch? And hi, Tanya. I should set this somewhere instead of on my knee. So, what are everybody's thoughts on this jailhouse snitch and his confession? I think it's a bunch of bullshit. Personally. So, I wouldn't, he's just got too much in there. Makes no sense. Why, how is he coming and going in Steven's trailer and his, garage and, gonna shoot her, and it makes no sense. And yeah, Steph, he just wants the reward money, and I don't understand how he would get it, because, I advocate for other cases, and, that they can't just get the money, that the families of the victims would, so how would he get the money when he's in prison? But it makes no sense. So, and you go from, he had said Steven confessed to him back in 2010 that he didn't tell anybody until 2016 after Making a Murderer came out and to get some attention. And now all of a sudden he's going to come out after this reward and says he did it. And how does this convicting a murderer get involved? Where did they get the information from? And they had said something on there about how they knew like back in January. So how do you know in January? Then you're just telling people now. So in the live I did previously, we read through the letter, and it is posted here in Gossip and Stephen Avery Project, so you can read them for yourselves. But, like Ian saying, why would he shoot her when she's already dead? It's like he's fitting bits in that goes with the prosecution's theory. Right. It doesn't make any sense. So, it doesn't say anything about her vehicle, does it? Now I'm trying to remember. Didn't it only say something about his vehicle? How did the RAV4 get moved? Maybe I need to read it again. And then my dog wants in, so we'll walk over and let my dog in. And you're just traveling with me on my porch. So, we don't hear about the well, no, he did talk about the RAV4. Yeah, Dallas, you're right. Because he talked about using the Band-Aid, right? And that he put stuff on it. He didn't say anything about removing the license plate, did he? You know, because somebody removed the license plate, folded it in half, and then threw it in a car that was closer by the office. So, even though he's got all the little things in there, it makes no sense. You know, how is he walking in and out of Steven's trailer and garage? You're going in, getting the gun. The gun was hanging over Steven's bed. So it just, Aaron says he did talk about the tail light. I'm not buying any of it. Yeah, and didn't he say something about his car needed a tail light? I don't know. I'm gonna have to read that confession again. And if I was Kathleen, I absolutely would reach out to this guy because how does this guy have all this information? Because they don't get to watch Making a Murderer. So where is he getting all that information? Ooh, what am I getting? Hold on. Pause for a second. I can't do this. Oh, I'll just ignore that right now then. Because I can't work my iPad and my phone at the same time. So it just, no. While he has everything in there, it just doesn't make any sense. And there should be some kind of punishment for people when you do this. Oh. Okay, hold on. Sorry, I'm getting so distracted here with this. Hold on. Alright. Why I ended the last video and what I'm getting distracted by right now that I can't go into is somebody came forward to Stephen Avery Project and gave us information on who they're saying the killer is. And so I ended the video because I needed to call Kathleen and give her this woman's contact information. Person's contact information. And now they say they've talked to Kathleen. So we'll see what comes of that. And we'll update you on that when we can. Sorry, I'm getting distracted on that because that's kind of big. If that pans out. I am dying to know the... Okay. I can't speak on it, Brandon. Dallas, I'm new to this site. Do you work for Kathleen or a volunteer? No, I do not work for Kathleen. I'm an advocate for the wrongfully accused. And so Stephen is just one of the cases that I advocate for. So I'm just a supporter like all you here. Joel asks, do I believe this person? The story that I was given is credible, but there's holes in it to figure out. So myself and the moderators are looking into it, but Kathleen's on it now, so I guess we don't need to really do, well, we're still going to be going down our own rabbit holes. Brandon says the only way they could corroborate this confession is if they find the shirt, hoodie he covered her head with. It's probably all just a made-up scheme to get $100K. Well, right, because remember, first the guy is saying Stephen confessed to him. Now, all of a sudden, when there's $100K, now he's saying he did it. And he's giving information that he wouldn't know, but somebody had to have given it to him. Because he hasn't watched Making a Murderer. Stephen's never watched Making a Murderer. They're in two different prisons because that guy is in Boscobel, or however you say that, and Stephen's in Waupun. But there's no way that guy has watched Making a Murderer, and they don't have access to the internet that he's going and, you know, reading Stephen Avery Project. And so it's like a publicity stunt of for that convicting a murderer because they couldn't sell it. So yeah, I would be interested in who's been writing to him and how did this documentary crew get in contact with him and why. Chris says the confession is bogus. KZ has even tweeted it's not corroborated. Right, yeah. I don't think Kathleen is putting much stock in it either. You know, and she put the whole letter up, including the guy sent her a deposit slip or an envelope to put money in his account. Lily says someone forgot to give him the memo that Stephen would be home during that time. Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense. And then Brendan and Blaine were home from school. Barb came home from work. You know, so Barb was home from work for a while and made dinner or something for the boys. And then Scott picked her up. You know, so there's people coming and going, and there's people driving around in golf carts shooting at rabbits or whatever. How is this guy doing anything? Chris says, Kratz, he is re-releasing his book with 2 new chapters. Perfect timing. Kratz shouldn't be allowed to make any money either. It should go to all of his rape victims. Because he did rape women. And thank you, Chris, for posting his daughter-wife's tweet today. That woman, I swear. Joel said, well, he said a kid went to the fire, so was that supposed to be Brendan? Yeah, I guess it would have to be Brendan. But none of the timing on anything works with Barb's home from work, and then Barb leaves to go to the hospital, but then Barb comes back from the hospital, and then she gets in her car, and then she drives over to Scott's to watch Prison Break, allegedly. Brendan is answering the phone when Blaine's boss calls to talk to Blaine, but Blaine is gone because he's out trick-or-treating. Steven is home and getting this call from Jody and that call from Jody. Chris is a stalker. Yeah. Nothing adds up. And so Bobby was home, and then Bobby allegedly left to go hunting. Bobby come back home? No, he didn't. Oh yeah, Dallas says, I like Leah's idea. Let Evans keep talking and see where he leads. Absolutely. Because who told him what? I absolutely would want to be looking at who's writing him, who's visiting him, because somebody's giving him information. He wouldn't have access to it. Somebody has to give it to him. Carrie's saying Barb covering for Scott. Absolutely, Barb's been covering for Scott this whole time. And don't forget, they also got married in the midst of this, too. Joel said, well, he said he took the bucket with the rocks with her blood on it home, so we can get that. Being sarcastic. Cassandra said, when did he go to jail? Did he watch it before going in? He's been in because it was 2010 that he and Steven were in Boscobel together. Then they both got Steven got transferred to Waupun after Making a Murderer aired, right? So he and the snitch went from Boscobel to Waupun, and the snitch was in Waupun for a little while before he went back to Boscobel, where he still is. And Steven's in Waupun. Leah says also, why would you shoot her if she was already dead? Yeah. Gail says, are they able to have books? Kratz book in prison. That could be, Gail. I've never read Kratz's stupid book, so I don't know all that he has in there. So that could be something. Carrie says, how convenient, so she doesn't have to testify against her husband. Right. I mean, there's something going on there. You know, Barb knows something. It's just, what does she know and when did she know it? Cassandra says, maybe an inmate and him discussed it at one point. Regardless, his letter is bogus. I don't think even if he discussed it with an inmate that they would have all the details he has in the letter. You know, it's like he truly is trying to hit every mark. And it doesn't make any sense. You know, I went up there and I wasn't even on Avery property. And, well, that's because I was going live and they have a spy in here. But another time I was there and Earl's or Chuck's Chihuahuas came running after my car. Julia, what did I miss? Prison snitch has come forward to Kathleen Zellner claiming that even though back in 2010 they claimed in 20 they didn't say it until 2016, but they said in 2010 Steven had confessed to him about killing Teresa. But now after there's been a reward, he's and he's in for life because he shot his wife and killed his wife. So this guy's going to be in prison for the rest of his life. And so he's now trying to get, he wants the $100,000 reward plus another $250,000 on top of that to finish his days in prison. So that's what we're discussing today. I know that Stephen doesn't really believe any of this, and from Kathleen's tweets, it doesn't look like she's believing it either. Bridget says, James J. Kennedy said he was there at 3 p.m. for the second time that day, and Charles was the only one there. Gray-colored smoke was coming from a pit. Why hasn't James been questioned more? He's 82 and incarcerated in Racine. James is a monster in my eyes. I don't know anything about that. Dallas says, just a question. Could this help Avery and Brendan's case? Have doubt in it to get them out for now? No, because you have to have proof. Doubt doesn't get them out, sadly. So there needs to be some absolute proof. Brandon says, any similarity between this confession and the new information you can't speak on? Same guy? There's no connection, Brandon, between the snitch and the info I'm getting. So, no connection at all. Oh, look at my hair sticking up here. Julia says, you can't believe a snitch. Unbelievable. Yeah. And I'd be curious to know what that guy's history is. Has he snitched on anybody else? You know, is it a constant thing that this dude does? Billy says, the info you have does look no. I don't know what you're asking, Billy Joe. Rebecca says, I missed what happened. We're discussing, everything is posted here in Gossip of Kathleen tweeted today the alleged confession that was sent to her. And so we read that letter in a live I did before this one, but the letter is also posted so you can go read it for yourself. And this is the guy that before said that Stephen had confessed to him, that Stephen did it. And now this guy's saying he did it. What am I being sent now? Ooh, I need my glasses. I can't read it. Oh, okay. This stuff on James Kennedy. Oh my God, that doesn't get big at all. That gets smaller. I need to go to an eye doctor. So it says, James Kennedy acknowledged visiting Avery Auto Salvage at about 10 a.m. on October 31 and speaking with Charles Avery, who told him to come back that afternoon for the part he wanted. Kennedy admitted returning at approximately 3 p.m. for that day. Unusually, no one was in the office, which was peculiar. Charles Avery appeared from the back side of the building within 5 minutes after Kennedy yelled several times. Kennedy claimed that only Charles Avery was present when he was there. He also said that he saw grayish smoke emanating from the center of the junkyard pit area. And then it says, a number of family members were present at the Avery salvage yard on the afternoon of October 31, 2005. To that extent, all had the same direct connection to the place of the alleged crimes as Stephen Avery. Likewise, they had about the same opportunity to commit the charged offenses. And in this crime, lacking any apparent motive or on the part of anyone, none of the other family members had any less motive than Stephen Avery himself. I think we're going into... Oh, no. I'll continue. Further, though, there are some additional specific facts that bear on possible third-party culpability. Charles Avery knew that the photographer was expected that afternoon, for Robert Fabian admitted hearing him ask Stephen about her. Charles also knew the purpose of her visit. Again, James Kennedy admitted arriving at the salvage yard at about 3 p.m. on October 31, and no one was in the office. That was peculiar and unusual. Charles Avery appeared 5 minutes from the backside of the building. A grayish smoke arose from the center of the junkyard pit area. Charles Avery's trailer home is the closest physically to the location in which Teresa Halbach's Toyota was discovered. Moreover, the most likely route down to that location would have taken the Toyota directly past Charles' trailer. Earl Avery told police later that Charles Avery actually had spoken to a woman on the phone whom he believed was associated with Auto Trader magazine, the magazine that employed Ms. Halbach. Note that both Charles and Earl Avery have charging histories of sexually assaultive allegations. So yeah, that is curious about this James Kennedy who was there at 3 o'clock. Now, every time I've been to the salvage yard, I didn't necessarily see people right in the open. And I've been in the garage. I don't know that I would call it peculiar that nobody was sitting in the garage when in the office when somebody went in there. But so when you pull in, you have the garage here, and then Dolores's trailer. So there's open space, and then there's Dolores's trailer. Okay. And then on the other side of this trailer, after some would be where Chuck's trailer was. And Chuck doesn't live there now. Chuck lives where Barb was, next to Stephen's trailer. And one of Chuck's sons now live in that trailer. So where Chuck's trailer is, it is on the path that you go out into the salvage yard. And the license plate that was folded up and thrown in another car was by Chuck's trailer. So, yeah, so that is curious. And what's the timeline on the school bus? What time does the school bus claim that it drops the kids off if he's there at 3? Aren't the kids getting there around that time, or was it closer to like 3:45? I don't remember. I'm really bad with numbers. But I've also disproved there's no way that the bus driver saw Teresa Halbach. At least not in front of Barb's trailer by that van. It is not possible from the bus stop to see down there. I did a video of that I was there standing where the van had been. I was wearing a bright orange shirt. I was holding a camera because I was taking pictures too of Barb's trailer and Stephen's trailer and all that. And then my partner was down at the bus stop. And so first he is zoomed in so you see me. And then he zooms out how you would see with your eye. And you can even tell what color shirt I had on. So, yes, the bus driver knows the exact time. Almost the exact time that she's there because she's on a route. And you do the same things every day. But she could not have seen Teresa taking pictures of that car. Not that day, not any day. If that car is parked down there by the trailers, by Barb and Scott's trailer. Or Barb and Stephen's trailers. But in the past, when cars have been sold, it was parked down by the office, and the bus stop is down at the office. So she could have seen Teresa there on a different day, taking pictures of a different vehicle down there by the office. That she would see. Billy Joe says, sorry, meant, does KZ know about this info you have? Yes, because the person that gave me the information, I called Kathleen and left a message for Kathleen and gave her the person's number, and the person has messaged me saying they've talked to Kathleen and they've now scheduled an appointment to talk. So Kathleen's going to go talk to this person. So we'll see what comes of that. Leah says, silly question, but I assume there is absolutely no closed caption TV. No, there weren't any cameras there. Can you tell us their suspect? Yeah, it's Scott and Bobby. I can tell you that. Which is what I still believe. I think all the evidence points to Scott and Bobby. So, and the stuff this person said, it puts a new twist on it. So I don't know. But for the longest time, I've thought Scott and Bobby. Everything points to Scott and Bobby. So we also have Kathleen will be filing for Stephen on October 14th. What day of the week is that? A Monday. So we've got 2 weeks. So when the filing comes out, we'll get the filing. I have to pay for the filing, so it's X amount per page, which it's just robbery because they're not printing it. They email it to me. So I have to pay per page like you've printed it. So, but I get it pretty quickly. So as soon as it's out, we'll get it and we'll go live and we'll read it and we'll discuss. So that's on the 14th. But in exactly 1 week, on October 1st, wow, it's 1 week away. Holy smokes. We'll be filing for another case that I work on, the Marnie Yang case. So we're filing for Marnie on October 1st, and then we're going to have a press conference on the 2nd. And then the floodgates will open in the Marnie Yang case, because everything you see on Marnie that's out there, she is so guilty. So, so stay tuned for that. I cannot believe that's next week already. And tomorrow I'm driving down to the prison to visit with Marnie Yang and Melissa Kaluzinski. But I have to make it short because I have an event that I'm hosting tomorrow night. So I'll be, let's see, what time will I be leaving? So I should be leaving here about 6:30 a.m. to try and get there right at 9. So I can get in there early and get my visit in with Melissa. Usually I visit Marnie first, but I'm going to visit Melissa first this time because I need to visit Marnie later because due to the press conference, the local press wants current pictures of Marnie, and they only take pictures at that prison on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays from like 12:30 to 1:30. So I have to flip-flop the times that I visit with the girls so Marnie has the ability to get her picture taken. And then I'll be taking those with me, and then I will be giving it to her legal team, and it'll all be put out there. And I'll go live maybe some Thursday during the day and tell you about my visits with Marnie and Melissa. Corey asked, can we send you money to help via Facebook Messenger? I've never done money Facebook Messenger. I have no idea how that works, so I don't know if you could. I do have a PayPal that I have posted before. I can post it again if people want, or you can message me for it. Chris says, maybe we can help in case dates or numbers are involved. Yep. Oh my God. For people who are on that are new, it is truly some mental block that I have, that my brain just doesn't retain numbers. I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed. Sheila says, TMZ has a good article with video on their Facebook page to catch everyone up. Yeah, I will definitely check that out, Sheila, because I know somebody shared it in gossip, but I haven't seen it yet because I've been live and then I was dealing with the tip thing. Julia, can you discuss why you believe she is innocent? I trust you, but all I find are reasons she's guilty. The strongest piece of evidence that they have against Marnie Yang is the taped confession. So Marnie had this friend, Christy Passion, who she went to Denny's with her, and Christy was mic'd by police, and Marnie willfully says that she murdered Ronnie Ryder. But you have to think about, since most people are here on this page because of Stephen and Brendan, think about what was done to Brendan in the interrogation. Okay? And then there is a book called My Mom Marnie that Marnie's kids put out recently, and that goes a little into what was done to Marnie's kids. So they were going after her 16-year-old son for this crime, which caused a mental breakdown for her son. So Marnie was being a mom and doing whatever she could to protect her son. And Marnie had complete faith in our judicial system that if they went after her for it, once they got into court, it would be proven that she didn't, because she knew she was innocent and she thought our system would work. I also sat with the entire the legal team. We had a round table for a weekend where all the different experts were going over the different things in this murder. And I was able to then see their reports on how it's impossible for Marnie to have committed that crime. So it'll be interesting when you all get to see everything there is, because that's just a tiny thing. Everything that's out there, everything the state has, there's a counter to it. It's just never been out before. Marnie definitely had ineffective assistance of counsel and was always told not to say anything on her side for, to defend herself. So, yeah. Whoops. All right. No other questions here right now. So, what time is it? 5:36 my time. And I have stuff I have to do since I have to be up early to go drive. The drive to visit Melissa and Marnie is about a 2.5 hour drive for me. And then I have an event, like I said, that I'm hosting, that I've got politicians and press and all this stuff going to be there. So I have to have that stuff ready for it. So the next time I will be able to go live would be Thursday, unless something major happens and I try and find a window. I guess I don't even hearing for her. And Steven's filing is on the 14th. So, all right, I will leave you then with, I think this snitch, this confession is all bullshit. Somebody fall down that rabbit hole. Out who that guy's been talking to, who's been feeding him information on Steven's case. Where's he getting that from? Has he been talking with Kratz? So, all right, I'm out. We'll talk again soon.